Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Blazer Victory Podcast, and not just any episode. This is our special series, the Conference USA Tournament Special Podcast Series. This is your host, John Duncan, and I'm joined with my co-host, Jimmy Marion. We finally have a quarterfinals matchup to preview for our UAB Blazers. UAB will take on Rice Thursday evening at 8:30. But before we get into that, Jimmy, I just wanted to give a special shout out to Randy Norton and the UAB women's basketball program on getting a victory over North Texas in the first round. How about those Blazers?
Hey, that was a nice win. And just, for the audience to know, we play Western Kentucky tomorrow at 1:30 in that second round matchup, 1:30 ESPN Plus. Make sure you tune in to check the women's basketball team out.
Yes, I hope Randy Norton and the ladies can keep it going. And hey, it's March Madness, so why not? Hey, you come in as the 10 seed, you knock off the host, basically the host team, North Texas, in a thrilling ball game. And hey, if you can knock down that number 2 seed next, hey, you can win a couple more and get that auto bid into the women's March Madness tournament. So yes, definitely shout out to Randy Norton and that team, and hope they can keep it going moving forward. And guys, we are missing our other co-host, Darian Smith, tonight, but he will be back to recap the quarterfinals matchup after the Rice game and hopefully get everybody ready for the semifinals game. But Jimmy, we are recording this. What time is it now? 10:40 Central Standard Time. And we just saw a thrilling game between the 6 seed Rice against the 11 seed UTSA. And my goodness, I mean, literally a split second away from a UTSA upset over the Rice Owls, but it looks like he just got it off a little too late, and Rice was able to escape with a 72-71 victory over UTSA tonight.
Yeah, that's what March is about. There's been so many great finishes in college basketball games across the country thus far this month, and so it's really exciting. You and I were talking before the pod, just the guard for UTSA, when he inbounded the ball, he just started off so slow. I think there were
What
7
are you
seconds.
doing?
I don't know. It's like literally he needed every bit of that 1/10 of a second. Live, it looked like it was in. And then when they showed the replay, the first couple angles, you couldn't really tell. And they showed that last one, it was definitely on his palm. But talk about wave of emotions, heartbreak for one team and, celebration for the other one. And again, that's just a part of the craziness of March Madness.
I'm telling you. And Jimmy, I texted you right after it happened. I was like, wow, like I thought that he had got it off in time. And I was getting excited, man. I was like, hey, bring on the 11 seed.
Yes, please.
I was starting to lick my chops. But yeah, after they reviewed it, it was clear his hand was still touching the ball when the buzzer hit, and you saw the rectangle flash red, meaning that time had expired. So Rice does escape with a 72-71 victory in the first round of the Conference USA tournament. Olivari was the lead scorer for Rice, 18 points, 7 of 18 from the field. But Jimmy, what kind of stands out to you from just observing this performance? Like, I mean, does anything like worry you? I mean, I don't want to trash Rice, but it's almost like, I mean, hey, here they are barely beating the worst team in the league. And I mean, this is a team that UAB has boat raced both times, in the regular season, both at Houston and in Bartow. Like, I mean, did anything pop off for you watching the game tonight against UTSA?
Well, you referenced that first matchup, and I mean, what a pivotal moment in the season for both Rice and UAB. From the UAB standpoint, since that game, we've lost one game that was double OT on the road at 2 seed North Texas. In comparison, Rice has lost 8 games since then. They've had home losses to UTSA and FIU. To your point, in both matchups against Rice, we've completely dominated. I mean, just to try to be as respectful as we can, 18 in the road, 28 at home, a combined 46 points. So those contests haven't been close. Today's matchup, watching Rice versus UTSA, I mean, these were not 2 high performing teams going against each other tonight,
No.
Rice, I know has more talent, in their backcourt, and obviously they have a great player in Fiedler. One thing that I'm kind of keeping in consideration is that Rice is just they're low. They've just had so many losses, close losses, blowout losses here, there, and everywhere since our first matchup with them. That we saw it in our matchup with UTSA in the road, where UTSA had picked up a win before we played, and UTSA came out on fire. I think they were up like 11-0, early. And so, one thing I want us to be cognizant of is that Rice has a little bit of momentum. Sometimes that's all it takes, right? You get that, monkey off your back, and you start to feel yourself a little bit. They do have the, if you want to call it, a competitive advantage of being able to play and get some shots up on that court. Not sure if they're on court A or court B, and what that matters, but so they're dangerous. We have to respect every single opponent, but there's not necessarily anything that they did tonight that surprises me. Fiedler has the ball in his hands a lot, top of the post, backdoor cuts. He surprisingly had 5 turnovers, which was interesting, but nothing that I don't think that we won't be prepared for. And as we've talked about in previous podcasts, we have developed somewhat of a formula, having won those 2 matchups the way that we did, and hopefully that's something that will carry over tomorrow.
Yeah, no doubt, Jimmy. I agree 100%. And I mean, you look at this Rice team, and we've said it before on this podcast that and on BlazerVictory.com, like UAB will have to focus on not letting Rice get comfortable from beyond the arc, because when they're able to start making 3-pointers and Fiedler gets going with getting those assists like he always does and his field goal percentage. I mean, they're a dangerous team. Now, you and I were talking before we started recording. UAB did a great job on Fiedler in both previous matchups. So whatever they were doing in those first 2 matchups, they just need to do in this third matchup. And I think UAB will be able to get the victory in the quarterfinals. But hey, forget the regular season, forget the records. All everything is on the line from here on out. And Rice at the beginning of the UTSA game tonight, they were pretty hot. I think they made like 3 of their first 4 shots. They went up like 9-0 over UTSA, but then they started cooling down. And
Yep.
you look at overall at the box score from that UTSA game, and I mean they were 21% from 3-point. They struggled again from beyond the arc, behind the 3-point line, and that's going to be a key in this game for UAB. Is can UAB play good team defense like they have not only in the previous 2 matchups against Rice, but really, since, like you mentioned earlier off the top, Jamie, like since that game in Houston, UAB has played a lot better as a team defensively, closing out, not letting teams get many open looks. Because if you give a team like Rice that's got Evie, Olivari, Fiedler can hit it from 3, Chef, they've got a bunch of dudes that if you leave them open, they can make you pay from beyond the arc. So that's going to be something to watch early on in this game tonight, Thursday night. Thursday night. That can UAB contest a lot of shots? Can UAB make them uncomfortable in their 1-3-1 defense? It sure as hell worked the first 2 matchups. So you would think that it would work again for a third time. But hey, it's hard to beat the same team 3 times in a
Oh yeah.
season. I don't care if you're the worst team in the league. It is hard. And Jimmy, what kind of scares me, I mean, I still think UAB gets it done. But what scares me is that UAB has blown out this team twice.
Yep. Yeah.
And coming into this third matchup, quarterfinals in Frisco, everything on the line, like I don't think we'll blow them out again. I would love it. Like I would love it if we get up early, just coast it. Hell, we can start the podcast early. Go ahead and then go to bed and get ready for the semifinals. But I just don't know if this happens. Like something tells me when you look at the previous 2 matchups, you go back to just a couple weeks ago in Bartow, from the 3-point line, Rice shot an abysmal 21% from 3, and then you go back to the game in Houston, they shot a little better at 30%. Like something tells me they're going to be around that 35% at least. So UAB is going to have to bring their A game defensively, and let's face it, we're going to need Trey Jemison to play well down low and make sure to keep a body on Fiedler because, as you said off the top, he loves that backdoor cut. And I mean, the man's just a wizard with the ball sometimes. You're like, how that is, watching him tonight against UTSA, granted, he did have 5 turnovers, but you're like, how the hell does he see this? Like,
Hmm.
he's so smart and good with the basketball that UAB is just going to have to play well defensively to have a shot in this ball game.
I love what you said about getting Trey involved. So obviously there's going to be a lot of emphasis on Trey defending Fiedler, but you go back to that first matchup where we were shorthanded on the road against Rice, and both KJ Buffin and Trey had tremendous outings. I believe they both had double doubles, and
Hmm.
obviously on the glass we've out rebounded them by double digits in both matchups. And so to me, I'm interested to see us play inside out. If Rice were to make a few threes early on, like don't let that be a knockout blow. Rice is not a good defensive team. So even if they get a lead, you saw tonight them get up by 12, I believe, in the first half against UTSA, and they still at the very end could have very well lost that game. They're with the last shot. So, don't let them, try to deliver a knockout blow and get hot early. Don't give them the confidence that they need to really get rolling and take that momentum from the win against UTSA and transition it into our game against them, and play inside out. Really continue bully ball. Them, Trey, KJ. When Javian Davis comes in, would love to see them get the ball and be active. And these are two teams that really like to get up tempo. So it should be a high scoring performance by UAB. And to your point, John, would love nothing more than for us to have somewhat of a less than physical matchup tomorrow night, and somewhat of a large margin. That way we can prepare for that very tight turnaround, potentially against a team that, speaking of not, beating a team, or the difficulty of beating a team 3 times in one year, that potential matchup against North Texas on Friday that I know everyone's looking forward to.
Yeah, 100%. And more than likely it is going to be North Texas. Who did you? I didn't even see who won the FIU La Tech game. I know that went to overtime. I
La
think
Tech,
La
yeah.
Tech. Okay, and they're shorthanded. They're not going to beat North Texas. So it's more than likely going to be North Texas in the semifinals. So if UAB, like you said, Jimmy, can take care of business, not kind of get the game over early in a sense, and just you know let that deep bench, come in and, coast out to a victory and then refreshed coming in Friday against North Texas because you're going to need it. That's going to be a very physical ball game. Usman, we know down low has given Trey Jemison fits,
Hmm.
but hey, we got to take care of business Thursday night against these Rice Owls. And one thing too, Jimmy, I know we're about 14 minutes in, and we do just for if anybody's new listening to the tournament special this year at the Blazer Victory podcast, we keep these 20 minutes or less because we know these are going to coming out every day, so we don't want to take up too much of your time. Just a quick lunch break podcast, but it would not surprise me at all, Jimmy, if Rice, kind of did what they did tonight against UTSA and jump out to a little lead over UAB. But that's just simply because, Rice just played on that same court. So they're going to be familiar and UAB is going to have to kind of dust up, get the dust off. So it might take UAB a few minutes to settle in. But to your point earlier, if Rice does get on that early roll, which I do anticipate them doing, it's, just not beating yourself up and not getting down. Just knowing, hey, they hit a couple of their early shots, but we're going to keep playing really good defense. And the more we defend well and force them to take contested shots, Rice more than likely is not going to knock down, a lot of those 3-point shots and shots that they get from the field.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm excited, man. Hopefully this is a journey where it starts to defend the crown. Hype video came out today that got me wanting
So
to
good.
got me wanting to
Mo
purchase a
Finley,
plane ticket.
dude, Mo Finley had me ready to go, man. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's get this. Hey,
Yes.
3 games, 3 days. Let's get back to the dance. Defend the crown. Let's go.
Hey, I want to do as many podcasts as we possibly need to do, as long as it ends with us getting that championship, repeating, and being a part of Selection Sunday again. That's all part of the dream, man. So hopefully this is just the start of what is going to be another incredible week in the conference tournament.
No doubt. Well, guys, on that note, we'll go ahead and wrap up this quarterfinal preview, but hopefully we'll be back to get you guys ready for a semifinals matchup. But as always, go to www.blazervictory.com. Check out all of our articles, podcasts, get you a Blazer Victory podcast hoodie or a t-shirt if you have not already. And we'll see you guys soon. Go Blazers.